Yo guys, what's up? It's your girl Dev. And today we're going to talk about a civil war that happened in 1942. Now, this civil war was identified to me on my live stream, and you'll be able to see some of the commentation from my live stream in this video because I wanted to articulate to you guys real time as I was discovering what was happening and what was going on in this kingdom. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about what happened and some of the things that maybe could have done to prevent this. Could it have been prevented? Maybe, but I guess it really just depends. I'll let you guys be the judge. And then at the end of the video, we're going to talk about how my current KvK is going, just so you guys can focus more on the Civil War, and then we'll talk about KvK at the end. All right, so stick around, guys. We got some good content for you. So strap in and let's go. Okay, guys, so what happened in this kingdom 1942? Now, I'm going to go over a little bit about the history. This picture is actually taken a couple of days ago, but it is not what the kingdom looks like currently, because we're going to talk about what happened and the aftermath after the Civil War. Now, this kingdom was built on jumpers, and most early kingdoms are built on jumpers. And specifically, this kingdom was built on a group of jumpers in both C, which is in yellow, and X, which is in orange. These two groups were actually one group, two alliances, one group. They were here in this kingdom from day one. Now, A, which will be blue in this picture here, they migrated here from Kingdom 1941, and I assume that they did this in order to bring in more power for more KvK1 status. Now, as they fought through KvK1, everything seemed great and well. They had a democracy where the R5s voted on decision making, and that's great and it was peaceful. Good for them, and I'm glad that worked really well. Well, what happens after KvK1? Migration. Now, migration can help and hurt a kingdom, and it just depends on how the kingdom manages the migration. Will depend on how the kingdom will survive, essentially, for the future. Well, this is what it looks like after the Civil War. The map, it's missing a specific color. Yep, that's blue. Alpha had been kicked out of Zone 3 and pushed back all the way to Zone 1, and as you can see that their territory is mostly gray, and they have one remaining structure here, and that is the Shrine of War, and they are circled around this structure. So let's talk about this history as we're watching some of the war content, and we're going to flip back and forth to the map as well. These alliances wanted to be in a C and D bracket, which is most kingdoms want to be in the C and D bracket because they feel like they can be in a more competitive status and they can stay away from the massive mega whales, which is a smart decision. And most migrants are looking for C and D kingdoms, which is, again, another accurate statement. Now, after KvK is over, Season 1 is concluded, people want to bring their main accounts. They love this kingdom and they want to bring in their friends and their families, so they bring in their friends and they bring in their main accounts to these kingdoms. That's what I did. It's what a lot of kingdoms do. Well, C, Alliance 942C, suggested that they start calculating the power, which is extremely smart. It needs to be done daily, just so that you can monitor who's actually coming in. Then remember, migration counts the top. Remember, your kingdom power is based on the top 300. Now, this is important when you're determining your bracketing. Now, as C was collecting the power, they noticed that there was a power increase coming in. Well, they wanted to try, X and D wanted to try to control this a little bit better, and A refused to give up their list of incoming power, which isn't very smart, which means whenever they took the temple, they're going to migrate in whatever they have on that list. Well, they were eventually going to share the list, and they did. It comes out that A wanted to bring in certain people, but they weren't on the list. It kind of comes down to bringing in your friends that are already here. Hey, my buddy wants to come here. They weren't on the list, but A wanted to bring them in anyways. And that does happen. I've done it. I've had people that weren't on my list, and I asked if they could open the cap to let them come. Was it right? No. But it's something that I made a mistake for, and it did end up kind of causing some issues internally in my kingdom, but it ended up working out okay after the fact. But still, it was the fact that I decided to go around my kingdom and bring in a player without following the proper procedures for bringing in players. Now, a couple days ago, before our live stream, C had the temple and A wanted to bring in big players. Well, A took the temple out of turn because it wasn't their turn yet to take the temple. And, well, they pretty much went with the fact that they said that C was trying to bring in massive amount of power and they needed to take over the temple so that C didn't try to overthrow. But apparently C said that the list was only 10. Is it 10? I'm not sure. I don't have the list, but it does make sense that if they wanted to bring in more power, then A felt threatened and wanted to take the temple. Both C and X tried to do diplomacy in voice chat with A, and that didn't quite go very well. A then declared war against C and X and started zeroing cities during this diplomacy meeting, which we all know when you're just zeroing cities during diplomacy, it can cause massive issues because they didn't stop fighting. But in conclusion to that part from my source is the fact that X and C wanted to regain control of the kingdom away from A. Now, it does suck for the players that just migrated there to be part of A. Well, they're stuck with an alliance with a lot less people in it. And yeah, there it is. They don't have much members left. Most of their people looks like they left the alliance or moved on to others because they feel for their alliance and their members and they needed to leave because they don't want to lose their accounts, which makes sense. But when it comes to migration, and I've talked about this before in other videos and on my live stream, it's very important to control it because it can get out of hand very easily. And that's kind of a concern because you don't want to lose control of your kingdom and bring in power that don't do anything or bring in power that are going to be extremely hostile and cost the kingdom, well, their status. So you gotta be easy with it. You gotta tread lightly. Everybody has to be on the same page because you can over recruit, you can under recruit, and you can lose your members. It's a touchy subject, and every kingdom is going to be doing it differently. Just make sure you guys are communicating. It's one of the most important things of this game is communication. Now, I do feel like this could have been done differently, but you know what? This isn't my kingdom, so I don't really know how I would do it, and I don't really know the full facts because I did try to reach out to someone in A, but I got no response. And I'm sure they'll reach out to me after this, and if they do, I will try to see if it's similar to what my viewpoints are and kind of go from there. But from the looks of it, it seems like there was just a communication barrier issue. Somebody trying to fulfill a goal that they had coming here. I don't really know. But either way, migration is important for a kingdom's health because bringing in power and bringing in active players will help you in season 2. And as I've noticed in my current season 2, bringing in the right players is the most important. Bringing in people that don't do anything isn't going to help the kingdom. But bringing somebody just because their stats are low, you don't really know why their stats are low. We actually had a lot of people migrate into our kingdom, and it turned out that most of them are actually really good fighters, but their stats were really bad coming into the kingdom. Why? I don't know. Could have been activity because of real life. It could have been the fact that their kingdom had diplomacy in season 2 and or season 1 and didn't fight any. I don't really know, but every situation and every player is going to be different. So it's important to take in all of this information to bring in the right people. I know it's hard. Being in diplomacy, being in any part of the kingdom's council, leadership at all, it's hard on a person. So you just need to make sure you're making the right decisions. And whatever decisions you make, you need to own up to it, even if you were wrong. That happens. I made mistakes. I know I have. And I make sure I own up to them because, yeah, well, we're all human. And this is just a game. But it's a game that people spend money on. So they feel like they need their voices heard. And you're not wrong. Everyone's voices need to be heard at some point. Now let's go ahead and talk about this KvK and how this turned out being. And as you can see here, we're still allies with 43 in yellow. 38 has cut us from the coalition with 35 and 34 and 33. 66 made an attempt to push out of their zone today, and it didn't quite work. They definitely tried for a couple hours and fought and rallied, but were unable to fully push out of their zone. And well, I guess we're going to have to wait until the next zone opens to see what really happens. I can't expect too much to happen because they are blocked in with multiple different alliances. It's going to be hard. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. And as we talked about Civil War, migration, and all these different things, it's been quite interesting. Civil wars can help a kingdom. Yeah, it sucks to lose a bunch of power and players and troops, but sometimes it's necessary. Why? Because you got to get rid of the power that's causing the most problems. And unfortunately for some of these players that were in that kingdom just migrated there and they have a 30-day cooldown. They may not be able to pay for passports leaving. Don't really know, not really sure, but I'm sure that they're going to figure out a solution, and I hope the best for them. For both sides. Well, because it's a game, and don't take things so personally. It's just a game. But again, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Thanks again for watching the whole thing if you did. Even talked about what happened in this current Lost Kingdom, as well as the Civil War coverage. I hope you guys enjoyed this content. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications to see content like this all the time, because I like covering different things. If you have a Civil War, you have content, war video, tactics, whatever, send it to me because I like helping the community, kind of maybe teaching them some new things and also talking about stuff like this. But that's it for me, guys. So for now, just keep it real.